Welcome back to the Group Project Podcast, episode number 43. This is Jared Smith, just back with you again this week. If you're expecting a guest, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait until next week. Last week was Christmas. This week is New Year's, and I just didn't line up any guests these last 2 weeks. But like I mentioned last week, I wanted to make sure I kept pumping out content. I've kind of gotten a habit of creating I have gotten a habit of posting a podcast once a week for like the last 9 months. So it's hard not to go a week and to post something. So I'm going to do one more solo episode here. Again, the feedback from last week, how to do a podcast or how to start a podcast, has been pretty positive. So I figure I'd take one last shot here, and I'll talk about the topic here in a minute. But next week, I'm excited. We've got Peter DeWitt, who is a well-known author, ed consultant. He wrote a book called Collaborative Leadership, which is an awesome book. It's based in research. It's just super practical tips for educators, school districts, school leaders to take. So I'm real excited for that interview. We'll be back with some guests starting next week. But check out his book, Collaborative Leadership. I think it came out 3 or 4 years ago. Our leadership team here has dug into it. We've done some book study type things with that text. So I'm excited for next week to pick his brain and to learn more about his research. Again, if you're just joining us, the Group Project Podcast, it's started about a year ago. And really it's for educators, and we're focusing on leadership, focusing on education, and focusing on personal growth, those 3 areas. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out some of the other episodes from earlier this year. If you haven't seen it on social media, I've been doing a countdown of the top 10 most downloaded episodes from the year. And again, it's kind of hard. I won't get into too much detail there, but I've been highlighting, just based on pure number of downloads, which episodes have had the most traction. And obviously, if you've had your episode uploaded a lot earlier, you'd have more chance for it to be downloaded by people. So there's been some questions on that, but so those of you who just recently interviewed, I apologize if maybe the metrics haven't worked in your favor. With that being said, we have had more listeners here recently who are listening to more of the recent shows, and they're not really going back to episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So you do have some advantages if you're a guest here more recently. But either way, it's just for fun, just kind of highlighting those episodes that have gotten a lot of traction here this past year. And I think we're up to number 3 as of today. The third most downloaded episode, and then tomorrow will be number 2, and then on January 1st we will release what the most downloaded episode is. So keep your eye out for that. So without getting into too many other details here, earlier today I shared a post that was called the top 10 culture hacks of 2020. And if you've listened to this show, I always ask guests to share their best culture hack from their district. And I love culture hacks. I don't know, just something about trying out new ideas and seeing what works, and trying for the purpose of making sure that staff enjoy being at work, making sure that I enjoy being at work, making sure that there's a good culture in our district is the main reason to try out these things. And so I'm going to share the 10, and I kind of just put together my list of 10 to 1 of the culture hacks that I believe are we've seen just some cool things happen in our district, the things that have the most impact. in terms of just making our district a fun place to work. And these are reasonable things. These aren't kooky or really strange, strange ideas. I think they serve a purpose, and they're tied into education, and they make sense. And like I said, I shared this earlier today. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it, so I thought I would just take a little bit of time here to just dig into those 10 culture hacks that I shared earlier today. Maybe just give a few more details than I gave in the blog post. And yeah, just maybe my hope is that, just like we do with our guests, my hope is that you can hear these ideas and maybe implement them into your own setting. Most listeners are educators. Some listeners are outside the world of education. I think these could work in a number of settings, whether it's schools or businesses or whatever your workplace is. So before I go to number 10, one last thing is, educators and education, we like to steal ideas. There's nothing wrong with it. That's you want to see what's working in other districts and other schools and what other leaders are doing, and you want to take the best of those ideas and try those in your district. So the reason I say that is because I feel like almost every one of these ideas came from another district or business or from a book. Um, so again, these are really not original ideas. They've all been taken and adapted for our setting. So with that being said, the number 10 culture hack of 2020 are the Trojan Way Awards. So we are the South Tama County Trojans. So, and our slogan, our hashtag for social media is the Trojan Way. So we started a couple years ago, we started the Trojan Way Awards, and we just basically ask our staff at the end of the year to fill out a Google form asking them to nominate a staff or staff members who they feel like best epitomize the Trojan way, which is just this kind of way of being, this service first, always being positive, always looking to do things at the highest level in our district, and people who go above and beyond to make our district great. And so each year we get those nominations, and we have a committee who filters through those, and we look for the nominees who either have like a lot of the winners usually have multiple nominations from multiple people, which tells us they're really impacting a lot of people. Or if there's like a really cool story that's just like too good to pass up, we will make those people the winners of the Trojan Way Award. Well, 2020, right when, we usually get these at the end of the school year, and 2020 was the end of the school year, didn't really happen. So we were debating whether or not to actually do the awards. And luckily I had a couple staff members who said, "Hey, are you still going to do the Trojan Way Awards? Because those are really cool." And I kind of needed that little bit of push to say, yeah, you know what, let's do it. But the problem was we didn't have an end of the year assembly or get together to do the awards. So we said, let's go out and let's give these let's Facebook Live these, and let's go out and actually go to the people's go to their house and surprise them at their house with the award. So so we do invest a decent amount of money in the plaques. I really feel like what you give people, if it's going to be a nice award, it's got to stand the test of time, and it's got to look nice in an office or a classroom. So they're nice glass plaques that we give to the Trojan Way winners. But what's really cool is that the people who nominate the winners, and if that person they nominated wins, we go to them and we say, okay, your goal is to recruit as many family members and as many friends to come to this event as possible. So if you look at the blog post and you watch the videos, we literally had like 20, 30, even 40 family and friends go to each of these, like go up to these people's houses. They have no idea that we're coming, and we surprise them with this award. And so I just encourage you, look at the blog post, look at the videos. What a cool event. It was, like I said, right kind of when the pandemic started. I guess you could say it was like in May or June. So, but either way, we went, and then to take it to the next level, not only do we have family and friends there, we encourage people in the audience, whoever's there, like this is your time to share as many nice things about that person as you can. So like if that person who's being awarded is not in tears by the end of the everybody going around and saying all the great things about that person, like we have not done our job. So it's a really cool award. The key is get family and friends involved. A lot of schools, I feel like, don't take that step for their awards, and that is kind of the hack of it, is to get those people involved. So that's number 10, the Trojan Way Awards. Number 9 is the employee referral bonus. So in the world of business, there's always like these referral bonuses, right? They get the staff members are incentivized to recruit other people to come to their business. And we said, like, okay, there's clearly a teacher shortage. Like, it's every time you read a blog post or anything on social media, it's about there's no teachers. There's no teachers. Well, sometimes you got to do something about that. And yes, we are short on teachers. There's no doubt about that. But as districts, you can either say, woe is us, like we don't have any teachers, or you can be super proactive and go out and get teachers. So we started an employee referral bonus, and all the information, if you want to look at our forms, it's in the blog post. But we encourage our staff to, if we have a job posted, we have we use Google Forms all the time. There's a Google form that will say, hey, if you think you know of some teacher who is not working for us, who you think should work for us, and there's an open position, make sure you fill out this Google form and tell us who that person is before the hire is made. And so that's all collected in this, responses of the Google Forms. And if that person's hired, that they recruited or they recommended, and here's a little trick that I didn't mention in the blog post, that if that person stays a year and re-ups for the following year, signs a contract for the following year, that person who referred that employee in the first place will win a bonus of $250 cash. And we actually, the hack is, and again, every post I made, it's like, okay, here's the idea, and then here's how you take it to the next level. How you take it to the next level is you get one of those big fake checks, you fill it out, and then during class, you actually take the fake check, and you go and present it in front of the kids, and you get pictures, and you say congratulations, because odds are that the teacher or the staff member who recommend the referral a year before, probably it's off their radar. Like it's been so long that they've forgotten that they filled it out. And then then you get to go and actually like surprise the teacher with a check. Now I'll get to that in a second, but with a fake check of $250, like I don't know who would not love having that little bonus. And it is a bonus. We don't give them the check on the spot. We put it, I can't remember if it goes in their paycheck or it's a separate paycheck, but we do it like a week before the next pay period, and that staff member will get that $250 the next week. Again, I don't know if it's in just their regular paycheck or if it's a separate paycheck, but everything I share here, like you might be wondering like, oh, how can you pay for those things? Like we're so restricted in schools about how we can do different things. Every one of these things has been like passed through our auditors, and we've looked into the specifics. We've looked into school board policy. We've talked with the with Iowa School Board Association, and each of these things is a justifiable purpose of public funds. So do not think that some of these things can't be done. Now, I can't speak for every other state out there, but I always say where there's a will, there's a way. Like, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. We're talking about a few $1,000s here and there that dramatically impact the culture in your district. So I'm I just want to be clear. Like, some people have asked me, like, well, how do you pull that off? Like, we can't do that in our district. I'm telling you, if you research and you rewrite the policies that make these types of culture building things acceptable, and that is fine, you can do these things. So I hope that kind of clears it up. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but we haven't so far. How many of these have we given away? I think we've given away like 5, because we only started this a couple years ago, and it doesn't always pan out. And honestly, sometimes unfortunately, a couple staff have left after a year. We hate any staff who leaves, but a couple people haven't actually got their bonus because that staff member did leave. So we haven't gone crazy. It hasn't been like we've got 30 of these things every year, at least in our district. I can't speak for other, larger districts, but again, everything in school funding for the most part is proportional. So if we're able to do it here, I don't see why you couldn't do it in a larger district or even a smaller district. So number 2 was the employee referral bonus. And again, if you have any questions about that, just go check out the blog post and you will see I linked in the form that explains the whole process. Number 8 is remote work. Okay, so I've been a huge fan of remote work since before the pandemic. I believe more and more, one of the biggest culture hacks is this idea that you shouldn't care how your staff get the job done as long as your staff get the job done. And I know that's a little bit different way of thinking. Um, when I say that, I mean if staff get work done because at a high level because they're in the office and they're at their desk and at their computer, then great. Some people love working in the office or whatever it might be. However, there's a lot of people who like flexibility in how they do their work. And I've been huge, and I've written about this for the last 10 years, I've pleaded with bosses to let me do work that is remote. I'm not all the time. Schools, you got to be, with schools, you got kids in classrooms and in buildings. Like 95% of the time you can't do remote work. However, that 5% when you can do remote work, I say districts, you got to take every opportunity to let your staff do work remotely or do work from home if they think they can do it at a high enough level. We could talk a whole episode about remote work, but with the COVID pandemic, really, it's opened up people's eyes about what can be done remotely. My eyes included. I used to hate remote meetings. Okay. I would love remote work, but meetings, I wanted to be in person. And this idea that we can now do remote meetings at a pretty high level has completely changed my mindset there. So I've been changed as well. But I just know there's a lot of districts out there that are still telling staff they've got to be in the building or they've got to be in the office to complete their work. And I think school districts got to get with the 2020s or 2021 here. Work is becoming more and more accessible remotely, and let's give staff the opportunity, whether it's professional development, whether it's some of the trainings, that's the same thing, professional development trainings, whether it's some of the teacher work days. There's a lot of support staff. I'm in my office here, and we tell our secretaries, especially during winter break, during summer break, like, we want you, if you work better at home and you can still perform your job at a high duty, we want you to take advantage of that and to feel the freedom. And if a lot of our staff have kids at home, it's a lot better to be able to watch your kids and not have to pay babysitter and get work done from home, which can be kind of tricky, than saying, no, you've got to come in to work and being so rigid on that. So again, I could probably speak for a whole episode on remote work. But I just encourage school districts to continue looking more and more into giving staff those options, especially I hope these last 9 or 10 months have opened your eyes to those possibilities. Okay. Number 7 is Donut Friday giveaways. So we love around here to have a little bit of fun. About once a month, we will do a giveaway of of donuts, usually, of cookies, of pies, of gift cards. We do these about once a month, and it's pretty simple. And really, this just kind of starts like a Friday morning. I'll wake up and I'll come into the office and I'll just say, you know what? We haven't done a giveaway for a while. Let's do a giveaway. So I'll just go to social media and I will, we have this template of a post and say, hey, STC community, we're about to give away 3 dozen donuts. All you've got to do to be entered is reply using the hashtag the Trojan Way. Simply like the post and then reply using the Trojan Way. And and this works for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which are our 3 biggest social media sites that we use. And then that's all our community has to do is just simply like the post, respond with the hashtag, and then they'll be entered into the contest. We usually give them from like 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. So about 4 hours to enter the contest. And then at 10 a.m., we will have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we will just do like a random number generator off of Google, and we will just randomly let Google pick a number between one. Usually we have about 200 or 300 entries, a number between 1 and 300. And then that number that's picked corresponds to a random person who posted in the contest. Kind of hard to explain. I encourage you to watch the videos. It makes a lot of sense. But why do we do this? It's about engagement. It's about getting our community engaged. It's about having fun. It's about really people, and we got students who enter. We got a ton of staff who enter. Usually it's a staff or a student who ends up winning 1 or 2 of the prizes of the 3. But it's so much fun to give away those prizes. If it is a staff or a student, usually will go to their school and deliver it in the class and say, hey, congratulations, you won these dozen free donuts or dozen cookies. A lot of times we'll Facebook Live the drawing, because I don't, there's always like those conspiracy theorists out there who think, oh, you're just giving it to these people because you like them. And I don't want there to be any question about who's getting any of the prizes. So we usually do them live so people can see minute by minute who is winning. And also in those videos, a great thing to do, like you always got to look for ways to double down on communication. And in those videos, prior to the drawing, I always try to share like important information with the community or give shout outs to different organizations or people in the community who maybe need a shout out. So again, it's a lot more than just giving away donuts. Obviously, if you're listening to the show, you get that. Questions I usually get are who pays for those things. Quite honestly, I usually just buy those on my own. It's very affordable. I've got here in Iowa, Casey's is a big gas station. And I've got like a card that's like buy 1 dozen, get 1 dozen free. So even then it's like an even better deal. But I would encourage superintendents, principals, whoever's doing this stuff, it's not that expensive. Like don't let that idea of well, our school can't pay for it, so we're just not going to do it. Don't let that get in the way. Honestly, if I was a little bit more adventurous, I'd probably ask for donations from different people. But honestly, it's not a huge deal, and I think it just goes with position. So that's number 7, Donut Friday giveaways. Number 6 is free professional book purchases. So, um, with free professional book purchases, basically here's what it is we feel like staff should not have to pay for any books that are tied to their professional development. So if there's a book, and I'm not talking like huge textbook like college, I'm talking just like a book that you would go to Barnes and Noble and like, oh, that looks like it could help me be better at my profession. I want to buy this. Well, we're saying instead of teachers buying it, we will buy it for you. Um, why do we do that? We feel like buying books for staff is one of the best investments that you can make. Um, I haven't heard of many school districts doing this. I don't know why. Everybody's got different theories on this. Again, they might not think it's the best use of public funds, or they might think staff are going to abuse the system. Listen, I've been doing this for 5 years now, and I haven't had a staff member who has abused it. I feel like, and our district does too, if a teacher has the courage to say, hey, this would be a really good book for me to get better at my job. Could you purchase this for me? Like, I'm going to take them at their word that they're probably going to take it seriously, and it's going to shift their thinking, and they're going to be better at their job because of it. Honestly, I say this all the time. If you've got a staff member who you don't trust that could take a book, ask for a book, and is going to abuse the system, odds are you've got way bigger issues with that staff member than $30 for $2. Okay. So I hope that's not the first thought that goes in your mind is they're going to abuse the system. Now, question is, well, don't they have to do like a book study, or don't they have to do something for the book? No, we don't make, I mean, some cases we do some things. I'm not gonna lie, but if a teacher just says, I want to read this over summer break, or during COVID, we bought, like, there's this really good book by Elena Aguilar called Onward, and it's about teaching cultural competency. And we thought it was great for our district. It kind of tied in with our core values. We said, hey, whoever wants this book during COVID, because you're going to be at home and you're going to be, you're probably going to be wanting things to do to break up your time. Any staff who wants it, we will buy this for you. And the book was like $25. It wasn't the cheapest book. I think we ended up buying like 80 or 90 copies, which when you add 80 times $25, that's like a $2,000 purchase. And at first I was like, oh shoot, like that's a lot of money. Maybe I didn't think that through. However, I've said this before. If you were to tell anyone that 80 staff are going to get better because of a $2,000 investment, and they're going to enjoy work, and they're going to like the culture that you've built because you're giving them that, you're saying, hey, we trust you, go and get better. To me, that's a $2,000 that is very well invested. I see districts that waste $2,000 on very stupid stuff. So I think that's a wise investment for $2,000. So again, we don't ask our teachers to do anything. Sometimes we do, but usually just say, hey, we'll get it for you. There's some teachers who don't know, you haven't taken us up on this, or they feel bad and they just buy their books on. So I'm not saying this is everybody quite embraces this or does this all the time, but it's becoming more and more of a common thing in our district. If you want to read something and you want to get better, and we believe there's a lot of, again, you're able to read a book from home on your own time. You don't have to be in the office, in the school, in your classroom to do it. That's a cool opportunity for staff that we want to create. So number 6 was free professional book purchases. Okay, number 5 is free vacation day drawings. Okay, I gotta, all these I said I've stolen from other people. The free vacation day drawings was definite. I robbed Joe Sanfilippo, uh, superintendent up in Wisconsin. Interviewed him on the show a couple months ago. He spoke at a conference like 3 years ago, and I heard him speak, and he talked about how he did this with his staff. I thought it was a great idea. And I said, at the time I was a high school principal. And I said, if I ever get to be a superintendent, I'm going to use this in our district. And sure enough, that very first year of being a superintendent 3 years ago, we did this. So how it works is all district administrators and directors, and in our district, we've got 13 of them. They are all told ahead of time, hey, we're going to put all of your employees, their names in a hat. We use the hat a couple of times. Now we just use a spinner on, like a computer app spinner, whatever. But we're going to all of the employees that you oversee, or principals, all the employees in your school, you are going to draw one name, and whatever name that you draw, you are going to fill in for that staff member for half a day. Half a day is not super long. There's so many cool things about this, but half day is not super long, but what staff doesn't want a free half day vacation day covered by their boss? So usually we do this, around Thanksgiving, and then it's like a Christmas holiday present where we say during the month of December, this needs to be redeemed. There's so many cool things about this. One of the most rewarding things for me. So 2 years ago, I was a high school para. Last year, I drew the name of a secretary. And the coolest thing is I get to live a half day in their shoes and see everything that goes on in their work. And it just gives you great appreciation for the job that they do. Both days I have came back to the office exhausted. That para job, I was going classroom to classroom, working with a group of students, working with an individual student, helping with the test, helping get a kid transported to another room. So much going on. I came away thinking, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. That was brutal. It was great, but I would, and that was only half a day. Same thing with the secretary job. Like, I couldn't believe how much she was asked to do. It just gave me a much better perspective for those positions around our district. And again, all of our administrators and districts and our directors do this. Now, most of them are fine with it. I could tell maybe a few are like, this wouldn't be my favorite idea. But I think once they go through it, they earn the respect of their peers, their colleagues. It makes for great pictures. It makes for great stories. It just makes for an overall a great gift that I would highly recommend for any school district. So that was free vacation day drawings. I went through that pretty quick. There's probably a lot of questions. I would just encourage you to go look at the blog post, and I kind of cover it all there. Okay, that's 5. I need a quick drink here real quick. Like I talked about in the last podcast, I really don't do any editing. So this is just one straight shot. So it's just not perfect. I'm just giving you the heads up there. So number 4, new baby onesies. Okay, so again, who'd you steal this from? I stole this from my good buddy, Mike Fisher, up at Charles City, Iowa, Northern Iowa. I saw a few years ago, I saw that they gave their any employee or employee spouse, so employee female or employee spouse male, who they just had a baby. The school district, Charles City, gave those staff members a onesie, which is one of those little. I've never used the word onesie until a few years ago. So but it's a true word. Those baby outfits, they're like one piece that like they go to bed in, I guess you could say. So I saw that district did it. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, we need to do that here at South Tama. So I reached out to the company who made those outfits and said, hey, could you do those for us? And they said, sure. Like $10 a piece, like super cheap. And I'm trying to see what it says. So I think it says newest member of the Trojan community. I can't see it very close. It's in the pictures, but it's a really cute little slogan. It's in our colors. And so what we do is at our big all staff gatherings. Again, COVID makes it a little bit difficult, but we bring up all of the staff who've had babies in the last 6 months. And usually it's about 5 to 8. And we give them all onesies for their babies. And then we encourage them to, the next time your baby wears the onesie, take a picture and either share it on social media or send it to us and we'll share it. I'm telling you, those posts go crazy. Like, people love seeing babies and they love seeing your school paraphernalia. So it's like the best mix of both worlds is to have a baby in your school colors. So I would highly recommend it. I kind of joke that some people have said, I want to have a baby just for the onesie. Now, I hope they're joking. I think they're joking. But that being said, we just gave away like a dozen of these things, which was our highest number ever. And so maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know. But anyways, it's a really cool idea. I would totally recommend any district look into that. So that was number 4. New baby onesies. All right, number 3, we're getting to the top 3 here. Okay, these are the 3 best in my mind. Birthday emails to staff members. Okay, so I can remember my first year of being a teacher, or my first years, for my birthday, I would get a card in my mailbox that it was a generic birthday card. And at the bottom, it would have the names of like our 5 administrators at the bottom. And it would just say like, this person, their 5 names, nothing else, just their names. Happy birthday. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm in a good mood. It's my birthday, so that's nice. But I always kind of thought it was impersonal and kind of just, I don't know. I don't want to take shots at people, so I'll stop there. But I just thought it was kind of impersonal. But I was actually reading this book called Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey. A lot of people know Dave Ramsey from the Total Money Makeover. And some people, people love or hate Dave, and that, he can ruffle feathers, but he's got some great ideas. You got to admit. And so he had this idea. And he's got a company of like 600 or 700 people. And I don't know if he does this for all 600 or 700 people, but he recommended doing birthday emails to staff members. And at first, when I heard that idea, I thought, birthday emails, that's kind of impersonal as well. But, here in our district, we've got 250 employees, which is a decent amount. And I do postcards, which we'll get to in a little bit, all the time. So I did want to kind of mix it up, and let's try out this email idea. So started writing these birthday emails to our staff. Now, how do you get the birthdays actually in to know it's your staff member's birthday? I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of like legwork that I've got our technology director and my secretary that they do to make sure that in my Google Calendar is everybody's birthday at the top. So I know whose birthday it is. And when I see it's that staff member's birthday that day, I will write them an email, and it's not super long. I've got an example there on the blog post, but I start off by saying like, hey, happy birthday, man. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a chance to enjoy it either tonight or this weekend. So that's okay. That's great. But I've also found it's a really important or great time to, like, if you've got anything nice to say about the person, which usually you do, say it then. Like, whatever comes to your mind about that person. What are some of the key characteristics that you really admire about that person, or what's something that that person has done that has really impressed you. So this is the time to like unload anything positive that you can think about that person. So I start off with a, hey, happy birthday. I hope you enjoy your special day. Hope you and your family have a chance to eat one of your favorite meals tonight. And then I just try to like heap on the praise. If possible, it really depends. Like some of these people, I don't know them that well. So it's hard. I don't want to seem fake either. So if it's somebody who I really haven't talked to, I might be a little bit more generic. So, but if it's somebody who I talk to a lot and I really communicate with, and I know how they work, and I know some specifics about them, I'll really try to, as best I can, heap on the praise to really make that extra special, that birthday greeting extra special. And then at the bottom, I went to Canva, which I love Canva. And I created this little birthday graphic that is special to our district that has our colors. And again, look at the post. There's examples there you can look at. But the coolest thing is I think I would say half of the time staff will respond. And again, if staff are listening, like you don't have to respond. I don't expect a response. When they do respond, like half of the time they'll say like, that made my day. That was like the highlight of my day. So to me, and I don't think they're sucking up, I think they're telling the truth. If the highlight of your birthday is not the gifts and the spending time with family, it's that email that you got from your boss, I must be onto something there. So I think it's really cool. I will admit it's hard to stay on top of them sometimes, like during breaks. I'm not the best at looking at my calendar, so I do fall behind. During COVID, it was hard to stay afloat, like just because everything was so discombobulated. Maybe that's my excuse. I don't know. I know I fell behind, and you kind of like, hey, sorry, your birthday was 2 weeks ago, but I want to wish you happy birthday. It happens, and I think people still appreciate the gesture. So that was number 3. That was birthday emails to staff members. Number 2 is flower deliveries to new staff. A lot of businesses will do something special for their new employees on the first day of work. Like they will, I don't know. I'm so jealous of businesses because I feel like they've got a lot more funds, funds, to do special things for staff, such as we're going to take you to lunch, or we're going to buy you this gift card, or we're going to do this nice thing for you. So in schools, we're a little bit limited on what we can do. But what I have found is that what we've done for the last 3 years is we will work with a local florist. It's the Tama Florist here in Tama, Iowa. We pay for these. This isn't free. We use our district funds to pay for these things, but we send deliveries to every new teacher on the first day of school of a plant. I don't know plants very well. I think it's a hosta. I hope that's right. We send them a hosta plant in a pot that is a really nice pot that is colored, and it's actually got our school district logo on there, our high school logo on the pot. So, we want to make that day extra special. I've gotten really good feedback from our staff who are not expecting it. Now, odds are they probably expect it because the kind of word's out that we do that thing. But I just think it's real important that you make the first day for staff super, super special. Make them feel like a part of the team, make them feel like a part of the community. And by sending them, I don't care who you are, myself included. Like if I get a delivery at work, it's pretty special. It's like, oh, like your curiosity gets up, you're excited, you're wondering who's thinking of you. So we want to create that special moment for our staff. And so again, I believe this is an idea that could easily be scaled to larger districts, where every new teacher could be given a flower or a plant delivery during the first day of school. Okay, so before we get to number one, let's recap real quick. Like any great top 10 list, let's go through and recap 10 through 2 before we go on to number one. And I need one more drink here real quick. All right. Number 10 was the Trojan Way Awards. Number 9, the Employee Referral Bonus. Number 8, Remote Work Options for Staff. Number 7, Donut Friday Giveaways. Number 6, Free Professional Book Purchases. Number 5, Free Vacation Day Drawings. Number 4, New Baby Onesies. Number 3, Birthday Emails to Staff Members. Number 2, Flower Deliveries to New Staff. And number 1, before we get to number 1, I'm going to hold you in suspense. Hey, if you like this podcast, and the numbers have been looking really good recently. It's probably motivating me to come in on Wednesday, December 30th at night, and it just snowed about a foot outside, and to produce this show. If you like what you're hearing, please, I'm just go. It takes like literally 30 seconds. Go to, if you're listening on an Apple Podcast, which most of you do, just give us a quick 5-star review. Type in that 5 stars. Maybe leave a little message about what you like about the show. It really helps with the analytics. It really helps the show get out to more listeners when they search for educational podcasts. This one will go higher in the search. And the reason I am passionate about this is because as any educator, you love teaching others. Like there's a huge rush by knowing other people are using your ideas in their district. When I shared this post earlier today, I saw people sharing it on Facebook and sharing it on Twitter. That like makes me excited because these are things that I wish I had known like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And if somebody's getting better because of these ideas, it makes me happy. And that should be our goal as educators. So again, if you could do me a favor and you like the show and you like what you're hearing, just scroll down to the bottom, click on the 5-star, leave a little message, and it just really helps things out. Also, don't forget, just press subscribe too. Just if you press subscribe, whether it be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that means you will always get those at the top. They will always pop up when a new episode like this one comes out. So just my little shameless little plug there for the show. Okay, number 1. What is number 1? Number 1 is student birthday postcards. Okay. So I've shared this a lot on social media. And again, social media is a double-edged sword because you want to share ideas and you don't want to come off as like cocky about it. Like I'm not trying to like show off or be cocky. Like this is a game changer for me. It has completely been a huge, the birthday postcards. About once every 3 or 4 months, I'll get behind on postcards and I'll write a bunch of them, and I'll explain it in a second. And I will take a picture and just let kids know in our community know like, hey, these are coming. Don't worry. I haven't forgot about you. It's not like, hey, look at me, it's like, this is a game changer. It's a great idea. I wish I'd done this as a principal. I did some note cards, but not like this. And I am encouraging people to steal this idea. So student birthday postcards got the idea from John Gordon, who wrote The Power of Positive Leadership. And he talks about, I think it's a superintendent in Texas, who wrote postcards to all of his students on their birthday. And I don't know how many students that superintendent had. I feel like he had way more than we do here. Here we have 1,500 students, which sounds like a lot, but if you divide 1,500 students by 365 days, it's an average of like 4 a day or 5. But basically all it is each student, and I got some right here. Perfect. We'll get a postcard, and here's what the postcard looks like. There's the front. I did this on Vistaprint. Vistaprint has so many easy, cheap ideas. And look at the back. We've even got it like, and obviously if you're listening at home, you can't see this, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing what the postcard looks like. But you can get hundreds, if not thousands of postcards on Vistaprint for like pennies. So I would highly recommend go to Vistaprint, use their templates and create a postcard that fits well for your district. Then my secretary, who is just awesome about like doing these tasks and helping me out, she's got a list of all of our students, grades pre-K through 12, on a spreadsheet, when their birthday is from January 1 to December 31st, all in order there. And it's the kid's name, the grade. And so all 1,500 kids are in these spreadsheets. And then when I find downtime every few days, I will retreat to my office, grab a stack of postcards, and then just start writing postcard after postcard after postcard to kids for their birthday. I write the message. Now, that's probably one fault of mine. I've got a coworker, Shauna, who likes to give me a hard time. She says, sometimes my postcards are not personalized enough. So I'm sure there's people who are out there personalizing the cards a little bit better than I am. I'm just writing their names. I hope you have a great birthday. Hope you enjoy your special day. Go Trojans. And I sign my name. If I had more time, I would probably write more specifics to that student if I knew them. So if somebody wants to take this to the next level, make it maybe a little bit more specific than mine. But with that being said, I write those, 15 or 20 postcards. Then I give them to my secretary, and she's the one who actually will either write out the addresses or she will create a sticker that has the address, and she will put those in the mail for me, and they're off. And the kids hopefully will get them like right around their birthday, if not a few days before, a few days after. So in the blog post I wrote, this is truly like the gift that keeps on giving, because so many kids will come up when I go visit buildings and classrooms and go to games and events. Like, so many kids and so many parents will come up to me and say, thanks for the birthday postcard. Honestly, sometimes I don't know who the kid is. I don't know who the family is, but it will start up a conversation with them. I mean, birthdays are so easy to talk about, right? Okay. So if somebody says, hey, thanks for the postcard, easy segue into, oh, what did you do for your birthday? Or did you have a special meal? Or, okay, how old did you turn? Or whatever it might be. It's a segue into a nice conversation with that student or with that parent about the kid's birthday. So I truly feel like it's the gift that keeps on giving. I know some of our students and families like to put those postcards like up on their refrigerator. It's just, and it's got, like I said, if you can't see the postcard, it's got our logo on there. It's got South Tama County Community. It's got our logo, our slogan on the back, or our saying, which is where every student has a plan. So I keep reinforcing the student or the district vision as well. So there's so many good things about doing those postcards. And we do postcards for a lot of other things that didn't even make the top 10 list. Gosh, I could go into so many different stories about postcards. Let me just say this: postcards are can be a huge weapon for you as a school leader to really impact the culture in your district. So that is 10 of the best culture hacks that we've got here in our district. Like I said, every episode we ask guests to share their top culture hack. I had a down week this week with no guest. We've got Peter DeWitt coming next week, but no guest this week. Shared it earlier today. Got some good feedback. I thought, you know what? Let's run up to the office real quick. Let's just pump out a quick episode that talks about those 10 culture hacks. So I hope you enjoyed those. I would love feedback. If you have any if you try these out, if you've got culture hacks in your district that you use that you want to share with me, I would love to hear those. So yeah, I hope that helped. I hope you're enjoying these podcast episodes. That was episode number 43, the top 10 culture hacks of 2020. And again, if you want to see a summary of all of these, check out my website, drjaredsmith.com, where I have at the very top right now is the blog post where all of these top 10 hacks are listed. That's it for tonight. I'm going to run home, have some dinner, watch some football and some basketball. Have a great night, and we will see you next week on the Group Project Podcast.